Hey, what's going on, everybody? I have my week 9 power rankings and a lot of shuffling in the top 12. A few teams who I have identified as, well, their seasons are over, sad as it is. And I have a bunch of shuffling in the green room. Some teams just getting kicked out, probably forever, and a couple of new entries. Let's get into it. My week 12 power rankings here from Rams Up. So I have officially ended the season for 8 teams, 5 in the AFC, 3 in the NFC, and we can all probably recite them together. In the AFC, the Browns, Raiders, Patriots, Jags, and Titans, all done. Thank you for participating. See you next year. And in the NFC, the Saints, Panthers, and Giants. And the Saints, man, after 2 weeks of this season, I think I had them in the top 10. I'm sure I did. And it just all fell apart. A lot of it due to injuries, including the injury to their quarterback. But hey, they'll be back next year. I think were pointed in the right direction. Wouldn't be surprised if they made a coaching change, though, before the 2025 season. But probably the biggest disappointment based on what we saw after 2 weeks, anyways, the New Orleans Saints, they're pretty much done. Now, who do I have in the green room? Well, dropping out of the green room is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and another team that's been hurt by injuries, impacted by injuries significantly over the last couple weeks, and they have lost to the Falcons twice now. I don't think they're going to be up for a wild card spot. Don't think they're going to be able to move up and tie the Falcons, and they'd have to have a better record than the Falcons, right? Losing twice to them already. So, man, they're really on the brink here. The Buccaneers, they need to figure it out. Not looking good for Tampa Bay. So they're out of my green room. And let's see, I got another team leaving the green room. That would be the the LA Chargers. But for a good reason, they'll be in my top 12. And another team entering the green room, dropping out of the top 12, the Seattle Seahawks. And who are the other teams in my green room? Well, we have the Cowboys. Man, another really disappointing team. And I'm probably being generous, even including them at this point. 3-4 Dallas Cowboys. The Falcons, even though they're atop of their division at 5-3, I don't think they're in the top 12, not one of the 12 best teams in the league. And then the Arizona Cardinals, one of the hardest teams to figure out, 4-4, impressive wins, disappointing losses, and yeah, they're a team that's really difficult to figure out. So they're in my green room, as are one of the best defensive teams in the league, the Denver Broncos. They're at 5-3 as well, but I'm just not feeling it for them in the long term. But giving them the nod in the green room, and the Chicago Bears, who at 4-3 should be 5-2, except for that horrible play, the Hail Mary at the end there. They had a little winning streak going there. The question is, can they bounce back? Hopefully, us Ram fans hope they bounce back and beat the Cardinals. That would be really good news for our Rams. And the last team in the green room, you guessed it, our LA Rams are back at 3-4. I've seen them as low as 19th and 20th in some power polls, but I don't know if they saw what our offense has been doing, what our offense did with Puka and Cooper back, Kyren Williams, Matthew Stafford. This is a really dangerous offense and a defense that's maybe finding their way a little bit with a lot of young guys. So they are probably the bottom of the green room, but in the green room for sure. So next up, let's get into our top 12. We will start with number 12, work our way up to our new number 1 team. So moving up out of the green room into the number 12 spot, the LA Chargers, 4-3. This defense is looking really legit. And, I already mentioned the Denver Broncos and their defense. I think the separator here is the quarterbacks between the Chargers and the Broncos. Justin Herbert versus Bo Nix. I'll roll with Justin Herbert at this point. So that's why the Chargers are in the 12 spot and maybe not the Denver Broncos. At the 11 spot, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they move up one. They are 6-2 now. Not a great resume, though. They've beaten the Falcons, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, Jets, and Giants. Yeah, there's some good teams there, but it's not exactly a gauntlet. Still not thrilled about the Steelers' chances to get far into the playoffs. Really eyeballing those two games between the Ravens and Steelers that are left on the schedule. If I'm not mistaken, the Steelers have not played a divisional game yet. My number 10 team dropping 3 spots. And yeah, you're going to hate me for this, but I had the Commanders at 7 last week. I dropped them to number 10, and I saw someone move them up to the 5 spot at home, beating the Chicago Bears on a Hail Mary. So let that sink in for a minute here. Do they really deserve to move up based on that result? I say no. And I've been a big fan of theirs. I've been in their corner. But if you see these guys coming up that I have above the Commanders, I think it makes sense. I'll stand by that. Commanders at number 10, dropping 3 spots despite beating the Bears on a Hail Mary at home. My number 9 team, I would say they're dropping like a rock, but man, a couple weeks ago they were my number 1 team. Then they dropped to number 5, and now the Rams beat them and they fall to number 9. The Minnesota Vikings 5-2, losers of 2 straight. Maybe just coming back to earth. Maybe this is where the Vikings belong. We'll see, how it goes. I thought they were playing above their head. Maybe Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than we all thought all along, but I think it's just more a case of, they were just surprising teams. Good team, really good shot at making the playoffs, but man, losing that left tackle really hurts. My number 8 team moving up 2 spots, the 49ers, only 4-4, but they've been working through a lot of injuries. They pretty much handled the Cowboys. Cowboys gave it a little scare late in the game, but that was a 49ers game. They had that in hand for the most part. So when they start getting healthy, I have a feeling they're going to climb back up pretty quickly, although there are some concerns about Brock Purdy starting to emerge as far as whether he should get that big contract or not. What are the analytics, what are the experts saying about Brock Purdy this year? And I'm going to do a little segment on that at some point, echoing an article I read on this subject. It's pretty interesting. My number 7 team, moving up 1 spot, the Green Bay Packers, 6-2, winners of 4 straight, but the last 2 by the skin of their chinny chin chin. Well, where they are just, hey, that's a good thing. Teams find a way to win in the end, but they have been the beneficiary of a lot of turnovers, takeaways, and good things going their way late in the game. But Jordan Love, groin injury, we'll see how long he's out. And then my number 6 team, dropping 5 spots, last week's number 1 team, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't get this team. Just another really difficult team to figure out. They had a 5-game winning streak, and then they lose to the Browns of all teams. One of the teams that I have already ended their season. They are done, and then the Ravens lose to them. My number 5 team, the Houston Texans, 6-2. They had that painful loss at Green Bay, and they bounced back and beat the biggest, really the only threat within their division, the Indianapolis Colts. Took care of the Colts, so they're in really good shape to win that division. And I picked them to go to the Super Bowl and play our Rams. Sometimes I wonder if they're really ready for that. Can they deal with teams like the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens in the playoffs? Well, we'll see. But right now, at number 5, moved up 1 spot from number 6 actually, and probably the biggest riser of the week, the Philadelphia Eagles. I had them at 9. Now they are my number 4 team, 5-2, winners of 3 straight. The competition hasn't been extremely tough over those 3 weeks, Browns, Giants, Bengals, but those last 2, they've won by a combined score of 65-20. So that's over the Giants and Bengals, and I picked the Bengals to win that. I thought they really would in Cincinnati, couldn't get it done. So the Eagles getting back on track. the Eagles of about a year ago before they went on that big skid last year. That was horrible. And my number 3 team, I feel pretty good about these 3, and I've seen these kind of mixed and matched a little bit with other power rankings, but I like mine. I have the Bills at number 3, moving up 1 spot. 6-2 after back-to-back losses to the Ravens and Texans. They've won 3 straight now, and they went into Seattle and took care of business, didn't they? And my number 2 team, and this is where I'm probably going to get the biggest disagreement, I have the undefeated Chiefs at number 2. What more can you say about an undefeated team? However, I still think they are, I don't think they're winning really impressively. I mean, they beat the 49ers. 49ers were shorthanded, though. They just haven't been putting teams away like you would expect. Hey, they put teams away in the playoffs, though, don't they? But I'm nitpicking here. Chiefs 7-0, but I don't know, just not passing the eyeball test for me to be the number 1 team. And my number 1 team is passing the eyeball test right now. The Detroit Lions, they move up from number 3. So the Chiefs dropped. The Chiefs were 2 last week. They stay at 2. The Ravens dropped from that 1 spot, dropped down quite a bit, and the Lions take their place at number 1. Lions last week, number 3. They are 6-1, put up 52 points on the Titans. They've won 5 straight. And talk about putting teams away. The Lions have averaged 43 points over the last 4 weeks. So they are running on all cylinders. Now the Aiden Hutchinson thing, the Chiefs made a trade for an edge rusher, outside linebacker, Uche, coming over from the Patriots. Probably butchered that name. Thought the Lions might make a play for someone like that, but hey, they're rolling without him, and that's a big loss. We'll see if it eventually hurts them. But Lions 6-1, just rolling along, really impressive on both sides of the ball. And they're my number 1 team, and I feel really good about that. I know a lot of people, hey, feel free to comment and tell me how wrong I am. That I assume most folks probably think the Chiefs should be number 1. I'd take the Lions right now if those 2 teams were playing. Now, if they were playing in a Super Bowl, I'd probably be betting on Patrick Mahomes, but we're talking about right now, who's the best team in football? It's the Detroit Lions, hands down. That's it. There's my Week 9 power rankings from Rams Up. Hope you enjoyed it.